It feels good. Give me just a second. Right? Matt. Hi, I'm Chris McAdoo. I'm an artist, a designer, an entrepreneur, a dad, and a husband, and I've lived a life filled with creativity. By making things, growing businesses, making messes, and telling stories. I've had a pretty amazing ride, and it almost came to a crashing, violent halt last summer. It's a little near-death experience, some grace, and a new level of clarity, with a love for my family, my craft, a renewed sense of purpose, and a love for this town. And a few other stories along the way. I'm going to call my story Ready to Meet Jesus, but maybe later. So on the morning of June 24th, 2020, I'm out walking my dog, and I find out quite by accident that I am deathly allergic to yellow jackets. We're talking full in the floor of the kitchen, losing vision and motor control, throat closing up, heart exploding, anaphylactic shock. My allergy doc would later tell me this is actually called broken heart syndrome. It's when your heart, all the blood gets drawn out, and your heart gets overwhelmed and it gives out, and it says, enough. So my wife, Robin, she calls 911. She saved my life first, and then the firefighter saved my life next, and then the paramedic saved it again, and you get the idea. Now I'm being hauled off on the stretcher, and what do I say in this moment? This Jack on the thing in the Titanic, what do I say? I say, honey, can you bring my computer to the hospital? You see, I had a client pitch that afternoon, right? Business to bring in. So I'm almost dead at 8:30, but I can make a meeting by 1. I'm on a Zoom by 2, I'm on a call by 3, and I'm pitching for 30 people. And I realized right then that something had to change, and I was the only one that could do anything about it. You see, I realized that I wasn't asking the right questions anymore. But I got the privilege of a hard reset. I got an extra life. It's like an extra level of Mario. Like, how amazing is that? And I had a privilege of a loving family of friends and a supportive network that is our great little town, our scruffy marble maker city. And I left my position as a creative director at what I would argue is the best advertising agency in the South with no clear plan. And for the record, to her credit, Robin did not bring that computer to the hospital. Oh, she did not. And we didn't win that business. And I took a break for the first time in 20 years. I went to the woods. I remodeled the kitchen. I went on some long canoe trips. And I re-embraced the magic of creative collisions, of Jim Biggs from the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center, running into him on Market Square about a year ago, and he says, hey, you got 10 minutes? I said, yeah. For the first time in 20 years, I do. Well, maybe it was time to get out of the house anyway. The kitchen was like 95% done. And a year later, it's still relatively 95% done. And it's a year later, and like my 10 minutes aren't up yet. Since joining the KEC and the Maker City, we've put on events and classes for hundreds of people. Zoom, real live, in person, things like the Maker City Summit. We've made music videos. We've held pitch contests. We've launched new programs. We've expanded the Maker City. Do you guys even, that's a thing that we do. I've had the privilege of working with some of the most amazing, inspiring people, and we are dedicated to changing lives through entrepreneurship every day, lives from east and west and north and south. And I've spoken with probably 200 entrepreneurs, makers, founders over the last year as part of a little storytelling initiative we call Made for Knoxville. MadeForKnoxville.com, and we need your stories. This is where you come in. We need the good ones, the blood and guts, 3 a.m. How am I going to make payroll, make messes, tell stories? We need people like Marcus Hall and Paris Woodhull and Alex Abel and Jasmine Ball and Darren Burrell and Jade Adams and Jenna Johns, folks like you. Folks like you that are in this room right now that are in the ring. You'll go there, MadeForKnoxville.com. You'll see some faces you recognize, but most importantly, faces you don't recognize yet. And you're going to see a big old orange button, and it says submit your story. Our goal is to collect 500 stories. And like I said, I want the good ones. We're going to be launching a Made for Knoxville Live in 2022. We're going to be doing lots of things, and I want to hear from you. I want to know how you want to play a part in making Knoxville the most founder-friendly city in America. As a mentor, a supporter, a connector, a sponsor, excuse me. Thank you, good to meet you. I've learned a lot of things, but I've learned that this is a community that lifts up, that looks up, that builds. A big idea is welcome, but it's one thing. It's a catalyst, a conversation starter. But an idea with a tribe and a tribe of founders, and people believe that is unstoppable. It's the pivots. It's the twists and turns that reveal who we are as artists and makers, as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as founders. And stories are a part of every painting that I make, so I wanted to share one. Take hold and take heed. The journey may be yours, but it is not yours alone. When the weight is heavy, may your shoulders be strong, and may you have faithful companions to lighten the load. My own story almost ended early, but here I am in front of you, with you, on this stage, faithful companions, all of us, making messes and telling stories. Thank you.